Greetings, everyone. This is Naho TV. Once again, we are back with another special guest. Our program is called Diplomatic Corner, and we make it a point to bring as our guests, ambassadors and senior people who represent sovereign countries from all across the globe. We have for you today none other than His Excellency Ambassador François Dumont, who is the ambassador of the Kingdom of Belgium to Ethiopia. Welcome, Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador.
Welcome to you and to your audience. And it's a pleasure to have you here in my residence, in the residence of Belgium. Thank you very much for coming.
It is I'm honored always, my pleasure. And for the audience, we have chocolate. Belgium is known for chocolate. Belgium is known for waffles. Thank you. His Excellency, the ambassador, has been here to Ethiopia for 4 years, and I consider myself lucky. I have told you, Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador, that I got you at the last moments of your time, basically before your departure. Thank you for finding time for us. His Excellency is not only the ambassador to Ethiopia, he's also ambassador to Djibouti. He's the permanent representative to the African Union, to IGAD, and also to the United Nations ECA. So that's very handful. So if we could start off, Ambassador Dumont, when did you come? And if you could also share with us your diplomatic career, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. And it's a tradition in Belgium to be open and to be really offering beers and chocolate. So it's a pleasure to be here with you. Actually, so my name is François Dumont. I'm, as you mentioned, ambassador to Ethiopia and to Djibouti, but also permanent representative to African Union, IGAD, and UNECA. Well, I've been posted as Deputy Head of Mission in Madrid, in Burundi, and my first overseas posting was in China, in Beijing. That's when I started. That was 25 years ago. Wow. And more recently, so before coming here in Ethiopia, I used to be the director for disarmament and non-proliferation, and I was also posted in Belgium because it's possible for a Belgian diplomat to be posted in his own country at the European Union, the Belgian representation to European Union. And I have also some experience in the press department of my ministry as a deputy spokesperson.
For the Ministry of Foreign Affairs?
For the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, yes. Wonderful. We have a specific press department, as you have here in your Ministry of Foreign Affairs as well.
Spokesperson's office, equivalent to that. Yeah.
Yes.
That's a very key position, actually.
That was a very interesting time, actually, during 3 years. Very important. The communication is very important in the current world, and specifically for my ministry.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Among the sovereign countries that Ethiopia has diplomatic relations with, Belgium also stands out. The Kingdom of Belgium, official name, of course. And it is number 5. When we say number 5, literally all Ethiopians know it because of your card. CD05 means, based on seniority, is the 5th country. And when did this diplomatic relations start? And historically, culturally, if you could share with us, and even to the point of you are what number? You are number 15, number 20, as an ambassador serving your country in Ethiopia.
Now, it's very interesting that you mentioned the number 5 that we have on the plate of the car, because most of the time in the city here at Addis Ababa, we are greeted by the people as Belgium, because they recognize probably the flag, but also the number 5 of our number plate. But actually, the bilateral relations between Ethiopia and Belgium, it's a long story. Almost 120 years ago, we were, as you mentioned, the 5th country to have a diplomatic relation with Ethiopia. In 1906, we signed at that time an agreement, a commercial agreement with Ethiopia at that moment. But actually we have had before, till the mid of the 18th century, in 1842, I think, the first contact with diplomats coming from Egypt actually to Ethiopia at that time, just to investigate, to see the contact, to see what was possible to do. And so this story developed. The first diplomatic mission from Ethiopia to Belgium. It was in 1919, just after the First World War.
Wow.
It was a mission at very high level. And so progressively, before the Second World War, we had different contact. You know probably that we have had an agreement to train the Imperial Guards in the 30s. So we had Belgium here specialized in the security affairs to help the training of the Imperial Guard. And of course...
We call them the ክብር ዘበኛ in Amharic. I know it's difficult.
Yes. So there were some Belgians there as well at that moment. At the beginning of the Second World War, Belgian troops, colonial troops, came here to defend the liberty of your country. We were here together, particularly at the Battle of Gambela and Sayo.
With the British?
1940, yes, exactly, with our British allies at that time. So we were there together, so we are regularly associated to the commemoration of those battles. So we were behind the independence of Ethiopia at that time. And then after the Second World War, we had some trade relations. Some industrialists came here in Ethiopia.
I see.
Most of them in the sector of textile. We have also influence, I think, but it was before the Second World War, and supported the accession of Ethiopia to the League of the Nations, so the ancestor of the United Nations. So it was before the war, so it was very important for us also to support Ethiopia at that moment. And so, well, more recently, I have probably to mention as well in 1999 when the Ethiopian police and the Belgian police were together to retrocede to Lalibela, the famous cross of Lalibela.
Wow. Okay.
That cross had been stolen at that time, and unfortunately that cross was in Belgium, and through the investigation by our police and your police, we had this great honor to retrocede this cross to Ethiopia and to the Lalibela churches.
Wow. Wow, that's a whole lot of history, really, a whole lot of history. Are you, how many ambassadors had Belgium had, just for curiosity's sake and for diplomatic history's sake, served the Kingdom of Belgium to Ethiopia? Approximately.
That's a good question, but if we see that we have diplomatic relations since 1906, and we have regularly, we have tenure of 3 or 4 years. So you have to make your own calculation. But I think that at the beginning, so till the Second World War, it was more a consular presence. At the level consul general,
legation, or
yes,
legation in French,
and we have the track record more recently. But I would say around 15, 20 probably. Yes, we have a gallery of portraits at the consulary. So if you want, after this interview, you could take some pictures of our gallery.
Thank you for your permission. Appreciate. We'll be interested to do that for the audience. Thank you so much. How do you, after staying in Ethiopia for almost flat 4 years now, how do you rate the relations between Ethiopia and Belgium? I know it's multifaceted. We'll come to it in a bit in detail, but economic, trade, export, political relations, and the like.
Yes, no, we will go probably more in details afterwards, but I have to say that we have very good relations between our two countries, based, of course, of the historical links I've just mentioned, but also more recently based on a very vivid inter-university cooperation. It's really our cards. We are with our most famous university present in all the Ethiopian universities here, the last 20 years actually. So it's very important for us to be present through this inter-university cooperation. Referring to trade, but again, we will detail later. We have a very good interaction, of course, with the presence of Ethiopian Airlines in Belgium. You know that the hub of Ethiopian Airlines is in Liège for the cargo, for the connection, of course, between Ethiopia with the flower markets, but not only the flower markets, also the coffee market. The most important coffee market, green coffee market, and green coffee is in Belgium actually. So we dispatch from Belgium a lot of green coffees to the rest of Europe, not only the Ethiopian coffee, but of course the Ethiopian coffee. So the interaction, the trade and economic interaction is also very important through our two countries. We are of course exporting to Ethiopia product like pharmaceutical products mainly, and more recently of course vaccines, because my country is a country of production of vaccines and even of conception of vaccines. So it's what we export to Ethiopia, and some technical materials as well, and of course from Ethiopia to Belgium, the flowers and coffee. So I would say inter-university cooperation. I would say very important trade relations between our two countries through Ethiopian Airlines. And I have also to mention that Addis Ababa is the capital of African Union, as Belgium is the capital of European
Belgium,
Union. So we have regular visit of Ethiopian delegation to Brussels. Prime Minister Abiy was recently in Brussels for the summit between African Union and European Union. So we have this regular interactions. It's very important for us. And mention that we are two federal countries.
Very true.
So we could also share our experience in this sector. And so it's very important to keep this dialogue open, be at different level, administrative level, but also more ministerial level. And it's true that we are very open and sometimes direct with the Ethiopian authorities regarding the more recent crisis. For my country, it's very important to have very rapidly a written ceasefire. We recognize the positive step of the current government, but peace would be based on official documents, and we are supporting as well the country and the population through our humanitarian support. And another important issue in our actions with the Ethiopian government is the question of accountability and violation of human rights. So just political aspect, cultural aspect, education. So we are together. I think it's very important to mention
as friends and as good partners.
We are together, and of course we are working with European colleagues, for whom Ethiopia is a strategic partner.
Very true.
And will remain a strategic partner.
Very true. Ethiopia, with all its geopolitical position in the Horn, the southern side of the Red Sea, and also Bab el-Mandab and the Gulf, it's a very strategic position. The population, the economic resource, Ethiopia is the anchor, the way I see it, and everybody wants that Ethiopia succeed. And no doubt about it that Belgium, ever since Benelux, as the core of the future European community and the European Union, of course, plays a role in that respect. And Ethiopia also has its own national interest, of course, and domestic matters are domestic matters. Sovereign rights are sovereign rights. Any government, whether the Ethiopian or the Belgian government, has the responsibility to maintain peace and security in the country. When certain groups become rebels and choose the other option, So I think we Ethiopians are very cognizant and respectful of the position of the European Union, but also we beg to differ when matters of sovereignty are there, because as a proud nation, we underline the line, but still that will not damage the wonderful relations that we have with the Kingdom of Belgium. And you raised about Ethiopia and Addis and Brussels being similarities. Yes, African Union, European Union, and plus NATO. And I always wonder, is there any effort has been done to twin the two cities, for example, Brussels and Addis, because they have unique positions. You name it. We have so many diplomatic representations in Addis, and in Brussels, the same thing, basically.
No, it's when I arrived, we had a project indeed to twin Addis Ababa and Brussels, and Brussels as Brussels region, because as I mentioned, Belgium is a federal country, so we have three regions. We have Brussels,
Flanders, the Walloons, and the German minorities.
It's region and communities.
Regions,
and so we had at that time a project. So we couldn't go further on this project, but I'm pretty sure that it will come back on the table. But,
and somebody will listen to us, hopefully.
Yes, and personally, I would love to have here, a Brussels square and to have an Addis Ababa square.
Good idea. Why not?
In Brussels, of just showing the friendship between our two capitals. But
that's a great idea.
It's still on the agenda.
Great. That's wonderful. Great. And continuing on that line, you also shared about education, and I'm a witness to that. In the university, some of my colleagues, even the top faculty, researchers, scientists, and professors in Ethiopia, be it Addis Ababa University, Gondar University, be it Bahar Dar and Jijjiga, what have you, they have studied in Belgium. University of Antwerp, Liège, Ghent. I can go on. Classical, high-level, high-quality universities in Europe, where Belgium is known for liberal everything. So my point is, Ethiopian universities, they need partnership, research, equipments, funding, and the like. How do you rate that in the last 4 years? Is that in the educational sector, is it expanding? I know COVID in between had messed up or had really jeopardized so many things, but is it are we in the right track when it comes to educational relations?
Yes, it's the inter-university cooperation between our two countries is indeed very, very important. Almost 20 years ago now that the Flemish Inter-University Council has established this relation here with Ethiopia, and actually Ethiopia for them is the main partner. And we have for the last 5 years a budget financed by my ministry, by the federal ministry to the regions, for around 14 million euros. So it's a lot, and we expect the same budget for the coming 4 or 5 years. And it's true that the Flemish universities and some French-speaking universities as well are present in all the Ethiopian universities. And during the crisis, of course, we had to take that into account. The COVID was there. It was difficult to organize the actions, but now with the new technology, we can speak through the computer. We can speak to video conferences, and we kept this momentum even during the COVID crisis. And it's indeed very important for us, and it's very important probably for you to know that we have here 3 chapters of our universities, the universities of Ghent, Leuven and Antwerp. They have their own chapter, so it means that they regularly organize meeting with their former alumni.
I see.
And we have also an association called Etalbel for just the former Ethiopian students in our universities, and it's a little bit more than 1,000 students actually. So we have a database, very interesting, that we can contact regularly.
Great.
And it was not easy to have a meeting with them during the COVID crisis, but we try to stay in touch
Wonderful.
with them and to inform them regularly of all the activities of the embassy, cultural activities. For instance, this is really the basis of our cooperation with Ethiopia. And it's not only, as you can imagine, in the sector of health, of higher education, it's also in the sector of exchange on question of governance. That's also very important. So we have to speak about everything with the universities here, and also capacity building and reinforcements of the structure of these different universities. And very important to mention as well that we are offering scholarships, more than 100 scholarships
per annum?
A year.
Per annum, okay.
A year for, well, a different level, of course, and for different disciplines.
I see.
It's always very, very interesting to have the first meeting with the selected candidate for the scholarship when I have with colleagues to explain Belgium, the structure of Belgium, what will be the life of your future life in Belgium at the university. Don't forget to drink sometimes a good beer with us. So inter-university cooperation, it's really one of the most important pillars of our cooperation with Ethiopia.
I couldn't agree more. That's perfect. I couldn't agree more. And the assistance in education, in the empowering people, providing our young faculty, our young researchers, know-hows, technology transfer. Otherwise, any country will be stagnant if we don't have a contact with other cultures and other universities as well. It will enrich the intellectual. It will stimulate the intellectual discourse. And contact with their peers in University of Antwerp, and they could invite them to come here and they collaborate on research and write, theses or what have you. So I find that really wonderful. And more so, what you do and what I had done many years back in my diplomatic life is a formality.
Yes.
The formality. There is with the people-to-people public diplomacy, and these students literally will become ambassadors of Ethiopia and as well as Belgium. I see it that way. They nurture the relation between two countries, Belgium and Ethiopia, or Germany and Ethiopia, and what have you.
Yes.
Because I know German former students, they have got also a big association, and they stay in contact with their friends, universities, Alma Ata, and what have you back home. So
there are other ambassadors, actually.
Oh, there are.
The Ethiopian students will become ambassador of Belgium when they will be back in their own country, and the same.
You'll never know.
And the same for our universities. Actually, you were referring to the University of Antwerp. We have also to refer to the Institute of Tropical Diseases,
which is very famous in Europe.
They have
I know.
Here, particularly in the sector of neglected tropical diseases. They are conducted in research on that, and it's very important. For Ethiopia, but for Africa in general.
In so many ways, tangible disciplines are important for a developing country like Ethiopia.
Yes.
Tropical diseases, veterinary medicine, on top of liberal arts and humanities, of course. The real stuff, STEM, sciences, that's also appropriate, and it brings impact for Ethiopia, I think.
Yes, and we don't have to forget culture and tourism. I attended the signature 2 days ago between the heritage, national heritage of Ethiopia with a foundation, from Antwerp.
Okay.
And this MOU concerned the renovation, the restoration of the moving heritage here in Ethiopia. You know that there are a lot of projects concerning the buildings of your heritage, but you have also to protect and to restore all manuscripts, for instance, old crosses. And it's very, very interesting project, and it's linked, of course, to the economic development of the country, because behind culture, you have a real industry.
Yes.
And it's very important to have, as you have here in Addis, the renovation of the former imperial palaces, or in Lalibela, also the protection of the churches. But we have also to think about the moving heritage, to present it to the public and to the tourists.
Very true. And it also creates jobs in ecotourism.
Yes.
It promotes tourism, hotel industry, hotelier. It develops in such a way, as well as to restore it. And it's a science, it's a science by itself.
Exactly.
It's a science.
And I used to say that before the COVID crisis, we had 3,500 Belgian tourists coming here per year, and mainly to visit, of course, the cultural heritage of the country. So I hope that we will reach again those figures and more in the coming future.
Yeah, that's what we wish, and we should aspire to bring more and more Belgians to visit Ethiopia. Thank you. True. Well said. Well said. Let's move a little bit to Djibouti. When did you begin diplomatic relations with Djibouti? Of course, independence was in '77. It's obvious.
It's linked indeed to the independence, and with Djibouti as well. We have also a very, very, very good relation. I was there recently to say goodbye to the Minister of Foreign Affairs in the margin of European meeting we have regularly with Djibouti. We have indeed some similarities. The size of the country, French-speaking country. We are also there present in the sector of training at the level of the University of Djibouti, indirectly, but also the training of customs officers.
I see.
In Belgium we have at our Ministry of Finance a school for the customs officers. So it's not only for Africa, but it's for the rest of the world. So we receive regularly customs officers coming just to be trained with the experience of European Union, integrated to European Union, and tomorrow with here in Africa. It's already a reality, but the African trade zone, free trade zone, where we have also to develop a specific training for the African customs for customs officers. So the same with Djibouti, and Djibouti is also very important for the ports of Djibouti, and we have also interaction with the Antwerp Port Authority, because they have a specialized training program for the ports in the world. So we are more oriented in this direction of training with Djibouti.
Port maintenance.
It's a wonderful country as well, actually. I went there several times, and tourism. It's also very important in Djibouti. It could be very hard, but it's a wonderful country.
More so, it's important for Ethiopia. That our import and export, goes through the lion's share. 80-90% through Djibouti. So we are intertwined.
That's true.
So also for us, very, very important, Djibouti. Great. So before we come back to Ethiopia, IGAD is right there, the headquarters. So you are also accredited representative of the Kingdom of Belgium to IGAD. Would you care to say something about IGAD?
Yes, sure. I was very pleased during my mandate that we have had the opportunity to finalize the process of the opening of a delegation, an official delegation, an official office of IGAD in Brussels to the European Union. Actually, we signed the agreement. Now we have to ratify it internally. An office of the IGAD in Brussels for their interaction with the European Union, and indirectly, of course, at bilateral level with Brussels, my Brussels, I would say. And we are now in the process of the acceptance of the ambassador of this office. So I think it's very important to concretely have signed this this agreement with the presence of IGAD in Brussels. And of course, I was the first ambassador actually to present a letter, contact with IGAD, of course, but it was more in an informal way. And so when I arrived, I presented a letter to the
before him? Okay.
And so it was the first time. So we try to be regularly in contact with IGAD as well.
I know that as a European nation, as a strong EU member country, as a founder and everything, Belgium is committed towards the environment, climate, energy and the like. And IGAD, its main mission basically, when it was started way back and even now, of course they have moved, also expanded their mandate to peace, security and stability. Would you care to briefly share with us the activity of Belgium in that respect? Peace, security, as well as environment and energy?
Yes.
Because it's for the Horn countries as well.
Yes. No, we are following indeed all the activities of IGAD in the sector of peace and security and the sectors you mentioned, and you are also indirectly present by the financing of European Union. In the project European Union that European Union has with IGAD. So it's more through European Union that we are present with inside the IGAD project. And of course it's very important, particularly with the post-COVID crisis, to see in which way we can help the different countries affected here in my jurisdiction by this post-COVID crisis, be it Djibouti, Ethiopia, or the other members of IGAD. And so we are present through European Union and sometimes also through the activities of the United Nations with IGAD as well. But it's very important to receive regular information from the IGAD Secretariat to see where they are, for instance, with the current difficulties and economic difficulties due to the drought here in the regions. We are there, of course, to help and to give more money through the WFP for instance, or other international program. Actually, we are sometimes too modest to show what we do, because we are big contributor to the UN system.
I see.
We are one of the biggest contributors to the WFP, but we are giving non-earmarked money. So you see what it means. So we are giving a contribution, a financial contribution to the institution,
not food,
and it's the responsibility of the institution to dispatch this money where there are specific crises. So you don't see immediately Belgium, but when you see WFP behind, you see Belgium. Of course, one of the hubs of WFP is in Djibouti. They have there some warehouses and also the basis for them.
That's the entry point for the food that come even to Ethiopia and to other places.
Exactly. To Ethiopia, but also to Yemen, for instance. And so Belgium is behind, because we are funding actually all this transportation system of WSP. And just to because we are speaking about WFP and the humanitarian situation here in Ethiopia, we have given more. Next to the non-earmarked contribution to WFP, we have added 1.5 million euro recently to support the activities of WFP here in Ethiopia. As we did the same for the Red Cross, it was 4 million 2 years ago now to help the local communities in the northern part of Ethiopia. So what is very important for my country, you were speaking about IGAD, we will see a few words about African Union, is the multilateral dimension. For Belgium, multilateralism is very important. We could say that multilateralism is now in a period of some difficulties, but there is no other solution. We have to find global solutions at global level.
In a globalized world,
be it at the New York level, Geneva level, in the UN system, but also in the continental system and the regional system. And so now we are getting back to IGAD. Multilateralism is really the key. for the crisis in the current world.
And EU, I think, is a good platform of doing that, and Belgium is an active member along with other European nations. Founding member, as I said, absolutely. How about if you go continue on that? If we continue in that direction, how about in peacekeeping missions? Do you contribute? I know that the Germans contribute, the Scandinavians they contribute. United Nations peacekeeping missions, they need a whole lot of money.
Yes.
You know, an annual budget of say, AMISOM, now and a new name, and in say Darfur, or say in Mali, we have at least 13 or something peacekeeping missions in the world right now, and $400–500 million, just like that, is the annual recurrent budget. So do you contribute? Belgium do you contribute?
We are present, as I said, in the global budget we are giving to the UN systems. It's true that we have some expertise in some part of the world also to contribute with some physical presence, I would say. But it's indeed very important to support those peacekeeping operations. And for Ethiopia, I know it's very important because Ethiopia has also contributed a lot in all those peace missions and peacekeeping operations. So it shows that Ethiopia is really willing to support
and committed,
committed indeed. In the UN system, it was the case in the past till now, and I hope that it will remain the case in the future. But indeed, it's very, very important. We are Belgium, of course, present as well. I
agree. There's Belgium troops serve maybe somehow as observers or at on the strategic leadership side. Do they? You have
be it in the Sahel region, for instance, for the moment. But I don't have the global view to give you all the details. But we are.
But you are proactive, engaged.
Present with troops and officers, and sometimes also in the staff of those missions present on the field or in New York.
Great, wonderful. Now let's expand our horizon and let's see. Belgium is very active. How do you see, if you could explain briefly, the Belgium foreign policy, African foreign policy? Is there per se a foreign policy for Africa and a broader sense for developing countries?
Yeah, of course. We are present with our diplomatic network in I would say the great majority of the African capitals. Of course, we have a history with Africa, with Congo, with Burundi, and Rwanda. We had recently a very important state visit of His Majesty the King to Congo, to Kinshasa, Lubumbashi, and Bukavu, with really a message of looking to the future, working with the youth. We recognize the difficulties of the past, but we have to go together to the future in this specific country. Our development cooperation is very present in all the African countries when we have a development cooperation activities. Also culturally, Africa is very important for us. Actually, and when we are referring to our two continents of Belgium and Europe, we have to recognize that Africa is our most important partner, because it's our most important neighbor. And so we are here to go together. We are here to build with a new momentum the relation we have regarding each other. And the summit in February was very important in this regard, to give a new vision in our interaction with Africa. But so getting back to Belgium, indeed, Africa is the most important partner we have, and we are present. And sometimes we are concerned by the evolution of some countries of the continent. We are concerned by the problematic of good governance, of respect of human rights. But what is very important is to keep to maintain the dialogue.
It's
to maintain the dialogue, to maintain the exchanges with all our partners, and to see what we can do concretely to help. Be it in the sector of health. My Minister of Development Cooperation consider that the universal health system is very important. We have some experience, of course. Concerning this health system, but you should see how we could improve the health system in the African countries where we are present. And it's a consequence also of the COVID crisis, when we realized that we were together. And when we are confronted with that kind of pandemics, we have to work together.
We have only one world, one planet.
Exactly, exactly. And at that time, my government contributed a lot to the COVAX mechanism, this international mechanism to supply vaccines. But it's not only vaccines against COVID, it's also vaccines against other diseases. And we are very present inside European Union, in Team Europe. We speak about Team Europe when different European countries try to work together on a specific issue. We are very present in the Team Europe initiative on health. Just to develop with the African continents, for instance, the production of vaccines, the support of all the legal framework you need to have when you want to produce vaccines. So we want indeed to help Africa to develop its own public health system, and specifically in the vaccines sector. So just to focus on this specific issue. So indeed, Africa is for my country most, I would say, key in our foreign affairs activities.
Thank you. Really well elaborated. Yes, I mean Belgium, and Africa have a whole lot of history, that goes back more than a century. And if we start from the current, there's partnership. No country is autarky. We need each other in a way. Import, export, business. On the health sector, of course, Africa needs private more vaccines. We need know-how, research, technology, and there is a patent issue and things like that. Working together and the like, yes. And also, one has to come to terms with the past. There are not good, dark history. Of the past. We talked about good governance. Yes, good governance, democracy is good for Africa, but the African model, things like that. And you raised about this important, by the way, very touching visit of His Majesty to the DRC. Very touching, really, for obvious reasons. A whole lot of history of DRC, Rwanda, Burundi in the past century. Not good ones, of course, bad ones, but coming to terms with reality is good. Accepting responsibility, accepting accountability. That I have observed with Belgium, being truthful. I was following his speech, by the way, and also how it was reciprocated by the Congolese. That is really touching, and it warms your heart because the past cannot be forgotten, but you have to come to terms with that. And Belgium had chosen this. It's not too late, but it was late, but it's good. It's very acceptable. I see it that way, It's very good, and that should be reciprocated with other countries. I want to go back to federation. You remember at the beginning of our interview? I think, if I recall, one can learn a lot, a bit more about the federal arrangement of Belgium. To some extent also maybe Ethiopia might reflect and take a look at it, how that's linguistic and ethnic kind of thing, the Walloons, the Flanders and the Germans, how the power is arranged, how they share power, how it is written in the constitution and the like. And Ethiopia has got its own unique constitution based on linguistic and ethnic kind of an arrangement. You see certain kinds of similarity. The Belgians are known for coexistence peacefully. Sometimes it's hard, and Belgium is a classic example, even an exception, where without a government, you live for more than a year, as I recall. You just live, because of the joking for power among the communities, but you always make it. So, given all this, are there some lessons for Ethiopia? I know for you as a diplomat, you are not here to prescribe this and this, but to use your wisdom, if you could say a few words about, at least share with us the Belgian arrangement of the federal arrangement.
Yes. No. Well, Belgium is a federal country made of region and communities. So we have the 3 regions, and we have also the communities. To be simple, the regions are based on competences more like economy, for instance, of social affairs, and so the communities is more the cultural and education. So we try to mix those specific constitution of our country in this federal regime after different reforms of our constitution. So actually we have reached, I think, a good balance in this system. This could be widely implemented, and you mentioned the time when we were without federal government, but we had government at the other level of power at the regional level. For instance, the country was working because we have also a very strong administration that could support that kind of political situation. But as you said, and I have lessons to give, because I think that each federal model is unique. You were also referring to the unicity of the Ethiopian federal model. What we can do is to compare at the constitutional level with some professor of universities, comparing what you are doing in Ethiopia with the federal system, the history of this federalism system, the reason why do you have this federal system. It was not the case before, and the same for Belgium and for other federal countries in the world. It would be interesting to have again, because it's not new, that kind of conference just to compare the situation. And you know that when you compare, you see that we can take some lessons, but we have also to recognize that the context it's different from a country to another. But I'm pretty sure that through the inter-university cooperation we mentioned earlier, we could also find some professor interested,
workshops and seminars and meetings,
to exchange what they know about the federal model in Belgium and the federal model in Ethiopia. It could be very interesting, I think, to continue the debate. But at the end, is the responsibility of the Belgian citizens, is the responsibility of the Ethiopian.
Another question, if you would like to briefly just make a comment, if you so want,
No, but I think that the comment is it's clear. It's a war unprovoked, totally against the international rule of law, the integrity and the sovereignty of Ukraine. Of course, we have rapidly to find a peaceful solution, but we have also to recognize that, and we don't have to analyze this war through the prism of the Cold War of the 20th century, of where the positioning of our partners are, we remain neutrals. It's not our war because it's a war in Europe. No, it's a very difficult situation, not only for Europe but for the rest of the world. We cannot analyze this this war from a non-aligned point of view. We are not going to enter in the details, but another point very important to mention, because sometimes we are referring to the sanctions are the sanction that the European Union or the other Western countries took against Russia as the consequence of the economic crisis, particularly in Africa. It's not the case. The cause of the economic crisis is the war, so it's Russia. It's not the sanction. So there is no sanctions against cereals or fertilizer. The sanctions are against Russia, just to provoke a change of behavior and to stop this war against Ukraine. So it's very important to be clear on the responsibilities. And at the end of
do you like languages? Do you speak languages? Do you speak a bit of Amharic?
Hello, I would say.
Yes, that's good enough.
Not.
That's good enough.
I would have loved to study a little bit more the Amharic, or not only Amharic, actually, other languages of Ethiopia, and particularly the alphabet, because there is sometimes beautiful in your alphabet. I have to say. But just to conclude, I visited your country 20 years ago as a tourist.
I see.
Yes, a tourist. I was posted in Burundi at that time, so I made at that time the grand tour, the northern part, the southern part of the country, Addis Ababa, of course. And so I remained 4 years ago now, and for me, it's a fascinating country. It's so friendly people, so open. Ethiopia is really a country with a great history, great culture, fauna and flora that's really incredible. And I hope that I will come back. I will come back not as an ambassador, but as a tourist, to have again the opportunity to travel. Very, very interesting posting. As ambassador here in Ethiopia and in Addis Ababa in particular, and thank you for your visit.
That was Diplomatic Corner. I had the honor today to have a good time with His Excellency Ambassador François Dumont, who is the ambassador of the Kingdom of Belgium to Ethiopia, to Djibouti, as well as to IGAD and the African Union. He was here with us in Ethiopia for the last 4 years, and we wish him all the success. Until I bring another high-profile diplomat and high official, stay tuned. I'll see you next week. This is me, Professor Brook Hailu, from Nahu TV, Diplomatic Corner. I sign off. Thank you for watching us.